Hey listeners, we want to thank you for the overwhelming response to the RMatvmc.com promo codes that you have been taking advantage of each week. This show, we have another great discount for you. This week's promo is for the Ryder Cargo Soft Loop Tie Downs with the buckle and carabiner combo. These straps are strong and durable, and with the carabiner and soft loops, you don't have to worry about the strap coming undone if the bike shifts around. So, head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com and click through to the Ryder Cargo Soft Loop Tie Downs with the buckle and carabiner combo. Then use this promo code 447TD to receive 30% off. Limit 2 per person, good for 48 hours. Offer code price is $10.99. The normal retail is $15.99, so that's a heck of a deal. So if you're looking for a new set of tie downs, make sure to use the code 44TD and get them for 30% off.
He said, if you can't win, wreck someone who can. And
Exactly.
I knew I wasn't winning that.
Why do people not get out of the fast lane?
Every time I see that picture of you riding around with that big-ass fro you're wearing, I still get pissed.
It was that night I said preparate, but I didn't say what I wasn't supposed to say, and that's A1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Real Talk 447. I am Jeff Emig here in Irvine, California at the Fox Racing headquarters. And as usual, I got Ricky Carmichael with me. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm good. You glad to be back in sunny California, my man?
Dude, it's raining all week. I went to England. It was cold and rainy. Then I fly to your house a week ago. It's rainy. It wasn't really cold, but it was rainy. Then we go to Daytona, and it's sunny one day, and then it's cold. I come back to California, and it's rainy and cold. So I can't.
Is it supposed to rain all? Is it supposed to rain all week, man?
Yeah. You know, it's just off and on. It's all right. It's still California, though. It's still okay.
Yeah. Sweet, man. So did you have a good time? We got to download about your trip to the UK. That was epic. Had a good time while we were here. We had a lot of good fun talks, great nights. The camp went as well as it could have, I think, as far as the weather compared to what the weather was supposed to be. We got more done than what I thought we would, and what we got done I felt like was really quality stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's always great having the campers. We had a lot of younger riders this time also, and so it's like back to the basics. And I find, Ricky, that I'm almost enjoying that basic level of coaching and those light bulb moments when a kid when he can keep his foot up in the turn and not drag his foot or something. It's almost more satisfying than working with a pro guy that's just out there, clicking off laps.
Well, for sure. And the reason that I like it as well too, Jeff, is you get to see bigger improvement. At the professional level, those guys are so good at what they do that when you are able to make an improvement, it's just a tiny percent, where the younger riders coming up, the gains that they're able to make are a lot bigger and greater, and you can visually see it even just throughout the day, or half the day for that matter. Actually, not even half the day when we're practicing a section, whether it's cornering, braking, starts, jumps, it doesn't matter. So I get a lot of self-gratification out of going back to the basics, like you said. And also, it's kind of a nice refresher to me to go back to the basics, because I feel like a lot of things came kind of natural to me and things just automatically happen. So to go back and think about that and go back to the fundamentals of riding, it's a good refresher for sure.
Yeah. Hey, this is going to seem like a shameless sponsor plug, but there were two. We had two companies that were back with us, and the first one I would talk about is the Cardo Radios. So they were there with their people, and Ricky and I had two groups at the camp. So I'm one of the coaches, Ricky's one of the coaches, and so each group had these Cardo Radios set up to where that they could hear us talking. So rather than yelling and stopping them and talking to each person individually, each rider. I've never used that system before, either as a rider or a coach, but man, it seemed great for us, and the campers or the riders essentially, they loved it.
Yeah, and remember we talked about this. I think we did a poll on our Twitter account, and asking if we thought if our viewers and watchers thought that, or viewers and our listeners thought that radio communication should be legal, and this is really your first time, Jeff, of using it. I've used it a bit more. What was your initial reaction or thought to the system? And we'll get to some of the riders' comments after I hear what your initial thought was on it.
Well, it's weird because as a coach, I wasn't hearing anything back. I'm just basically talking into the mic. But safety-wise, like when a rider would go down, I thought that it was good. And I was wondering, though, is like if I stop another rider and I'm talking to them specifically, everyone in the group could hear. So I was like, is that distracting for you? You know, it seems like if you're trying to do your own thing. So I'll let you give the punchline to that.
Yeah, so the riders would say, well, no, it wasn't a distraction, and we knew if you were talking to me personally or we knew if you were talking to someone else. But the cool thing was that when we heard you talking to maybe not us but the other rider, it would remind me on what to do. And I'm like, man, that's really cool. So not only was it not a distraction like some people think it is, it was a nice refresher for the other riders within the group. And I personally, when they said that, I'm like, man, that is so good. That is great feedback, because I think that's the biggest controversy is, from a safety standpoint, is it really a distraction? I've used it both riding and being talked to and talking to the rider, whoever it might be, up at the goat farm, and of course all of these riders that we have at the camps. So I have a lot of experience with it, and majority of it is all upside, and everything is a positive. Now, from a camp perspective and doing a riding school, Jeff, I think you would say the same thing. The amount of riding that these riders are able to do, instead of having to stop everybody and talk to them, you're able to tell them as they're going through the section or as they're approaching the section, and not having to stop everyone. Also, in the past, while we were working with these riders in the camps, if we saw a rider make a mistake or we needed to pull that rider over and have a quick moment with him, well, while we were talking to him, we would be missing the other riders going through the section, whatever it might be, Jeff. Starts, corners, like I talked about earlier. So from that perspective, the riders were able to ride a lot longer, and we didn't have to make as many stops, which was key, especially this camp with the rain we had coming.
Yeah. The only downside that I could see is if you had a mom or dad, one of those mom or dads that's really boisterous and maybe, like in my opinion, like over the top with your either support or encouragement or criticism of your kid. I could see that being a negative, so you'd need to make sure that it's being used properly, essentially. But, man, what an amazing tool that was. So, yeah, that was fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, those guys were great. Those guys were great, man, and all the riders loved it. Now, the other company that we had down there, of course, is a sponsor of our show, Slick Products. So we were supposed to have the big wash-off, remember, to see who could use the foam gun and get their bike the cleanest. But because of the rain, I had a brand new 450 Husky that never even got out of the crate. My gear never even came out of the bag, so we didn't get to do the Slick Products wash off or whatever we were going to do with it. But you did have a promo for this week, or in the show last week. Did you pick your winner yet for the first person to give Dean Wilson's finish?
Well, I didn't. I think I have the winner, but I want to triple check, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to triple check, because I had some dude, I'm not going to call him out, on Twitter just totally busted me, about, oh, dude, I won the contest. Okay, so I'm like, wait a minute. First thing that goes through my mind on Twitter is like, how do you know that you won the contest? Because you haven't seen the flood of DMs that I get on my Instagram, to see if you were first. Well, come to find out, I said, hey, man, I haven't looked through them yet. I'm going to today. We had to delay the taping of the show until today. I have some stuff going on. And anyhow, went through, apologized a whole bit. So I start looking, And come to find out, he was a day later than the guy that I think is going to win. But like I said, I want to triple check because I don't need to be getting called out on Twitter. Then another guy was like responding like to his comment about I should say, not responding. And like, oh, look, the guy they don't even respond. That's lame or something or other. But long story short, the guy that said he won didn't win. And I do think I have a winner, but I'm going to triple check. And we are going to post this gentleman's, who I think it is. We're going to post him as the winner on Real Talk 447 Official on our new Instagram account. So,
good idea.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'll have that for us tonight, and we will post it on our new gram.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah,
well, it was a fun camp. I appreciate the invite. I always love working with you and with the riders and all that. But then we turned our attention to a pretty big event this weekend in Daytona, the 50th running of the Daytona Supercross. And it started off, we drove up there Friday morning, and it was bam. We were straight into press conferences and media and everything.
Oh, you were eating it up, weren't you? You were past champion.
Oh, hey, bring it on.
Yeah,
it was great. It was fun.
Yeah, it was Friday. Daytona did a really good job. Daytona International Speedway and the whole crew over there did a really good job honoring the past champions of the Daytona Supercross, guys like yourself, Rick Johnson, Rocket, Rex Staten, and who else was there? Let's see here. Jeff Stanton. There's quite a few people. Lindstrom was there, which is really cool.
Well, Gunnar Lindstrom was actually the very first winner, and I believe the first couple years that race was actually like a Trans AMA or something is what they would have called it. Like Supercross hadn't even the Super Bowl of motocross, which is really the first Supercross literally inside of a stadium in the LA Coliseum, wasn't until the next year. But the Daytona race that eventually became the Daytona Supercross, that was in 1971. So and Gunnar won it, but I believe that there was like a 250 and a 500, like a two-stroke. I think there was each. So I actually meant to find that out if he won the 500 class. I think it would have been the 500 class is what they recognize as being the first winner. So Gunnar's still in great shape, looks good. Good to see Rocket Rex. And I see him. I go, hey, Rex, how's it going? He goes, oh, hey, didn't we get in a fight sometime back? Dude,
what?
Oh, yeah. You want story time right now?
Yeah, well, you're
so real quick. So Rex Staten, who's I don't know, he's got to be 15, 20 years older than me, still rode amazing. So we go out to do a little, like a Saturday night race at Glen Helen on like an off weekend, and I'm going to say it was like 92, 93, something like that. I was still riding 125s. So Budman's riding, Buddy Antonez, Dana Wiggins, Billy Feltz is out there, our whole Ridge Canyon crew. Yeah. And in practice, I go in on this guy riding a CR500. It was like a little Supercross built. Well, I slammed this guy, whatever, is back in those days. I was just, going for it. Well, the next turn was a big bowl turn, and they had watered it, so the lower part of the bowl turn was all like wet. So you had to go like up around the water, literally. This bike comes out of my right side through the water, takes me out, dude, cleans my ass out, right? So I'm on the ground. I get up like, what the hell is that? It's Rex, and he's sitting there looking back, stopped, looking at me, flipping me off.
Really?
Back in the Jersey's Rex Staten. Well, I already knew from Keith McCarty the stories about Rex Staten was like gnarly. Like he used to be a boxer and all kinds of shit. Like it was gnarly. So we get on the starting line, all of us young guys, and then Rex was pretty old at the time, but dude, he could ride that 500. Well, he gets the whole shot, and then a few of us pass him, whatever. I end up winning the first moto. Second moto, my bike breaks. Well, he actually wins the overall. And as we're like by our trucks and stuff, he walks by afterwards after like picking up his pro purse. He walks by and holds the money up to me like, who's the winner now?
Dude, you got so many stories, dude.
Dude,
like,
so so like literally like a month or two later, we're up in Mammoth, and I used to ride practice day at Mammoth. Well, I see him up on practice day in the pro practice, and I'm like on a clapped out, 125 practice bike. He's on his 500. I just can't help myself but just start, jacking with this guy.
Doesn't surprise me.
Okay. So I get the best of him, whatever. Well, they flagged practice off, and you used to go by the finish line and turn off the track, and there was like a track exit, that's only yay wide. Dude, bike laying on the ground, he's standing right there at the track exit. True story.
What did you just kind of go by him like?
I kept on going, headed down the start, and I think I stopped at like Team Green and seen like, for some reason I want to think that I seen like Reed Nordine or somebody, and I'm like, hey, Rex wants to kick my ass. Like, I need some help here.
Dude, you're a knucklehead.
No, and he's gnarly, like Rhino gnarly, right?
That's the first time I've ever seen him, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't mess with him.
So, and if I remember correctly,
right?
Oh yeah, he's gnarly, right? So, if I remember correctly, I pretty much like put the Yamaha in the truck and headed her on back down south, man. Like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Well, because Keith McCarty told me a story about back in the 90s. At Saddleback, he smashes this dude up, some kid or whatever. Well, back when they ran open face helmets, that he was coming off the track after taking some guy out, and the kid's dad like hit him with like a big old crescent wrench just right in the face, just bam, and he got up and like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of those things attached to Rex. Thankfully, we enjoyed our time together. We even had a couple of adult beverages up in the France suite during the race.
Do you remember who got second and third? Or
Yeah, the guys that were behind Eli Tomac. Yeah, exactly. So no, we had a great time, and with all it's so awesome to spend time with Stanton and Rick Johnson and everybody, and Rex Gunner, everybody. We were kind of that group, and dude, Ricky Johnson, dude.
Was he in the zone?
He is so much fun to be around, And then of course Stanton, we got to spend some time with Stanton too Sunday night. He's so unique, and what's funny is how much fun it is to be around Jeff. He doesn't even drink beers or nothing. He's just naturally just an amazing guy.
Yeah, he's naturally loves life, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
So was this before, like, to everybody watching and listening, Jeff? So we went for a barbecue Sunday night to Bob Gorman's house. He's founder of Cometic Gaskets. Great person, wonderful partner. And he hosts us every year. And so we go there. I bring Fro. It's myself, JH, and a bunch of other people who were there also. Some friends of ours. Anyhow, Stanton ends up coming and his wife, Sarah. And Jeff gets talking, and we're telling stories about all kinds of things. And Jeff won the competition that night. He talked the most, told the most stories. Kind of like... Yeah, you, Fro. Kind of like you have a story.
Dude, you were so in the zone. It had to be a good
well, I was
competition.
on the white wine. I was on the white wine that night, if you remember. But anyhow, you started talking, and that last story, dude, I couldn't handle it. My eyelids started to get heavy. I went over to go to sleep, and then all these guys start taking pictures of me.
I have a couple pictures
rest
on my phone too. Yeah, just a little fiver, just a little.
I mean, then come to find out, him and JH left me at the house. Left me at.
Who told you that?
Huh?
Who told you that?
And you guys got lost in the neighborhood, couldn't find your way out.
The only reason we came back to get you is because.
And Bob was like, "Hey, you're not really going to leave RC here, are you? You need to come back and get him."
So you know me. I was leaving your ass behind. I was laughing the whole time. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. But to get JH to actually leave you.
Was it?
Like, he was in it. He's like, yeah, F him,
really?
Let's go. Yeah, you were let somebody else take him home.
Honestly, I probably would have been just fine. I was sleeping so good every year. So every year I go to Bob's house, that barbecue. It's like it's after a long day, and it has this really nice recliner, and I sit on that thing. So now it's just tradition. I go over there, I fall asleep, people take pictures, and the whole bit.
Yeah, well, and for those of you that don't know, when it comes to Daytona, Ricky is the busiest guy in the house. So, and on a late Sunday night, after everything that you had going with, being the track designer and the meetings and the media obligations that you have, all that stuff being up early for the RCSX, all of that, you deserved it, buddy. You did
well,
a good
and
job.
it too. We had the camp that week, and
the camp, yeah.
We didn't do ourselves any favors by telling stories and a lot of lies the late nights, enjoying ourselves. But hey. So what did you think of my save? What did you think of my save on the parade lap through the whoops?
Dude,
Dude, that was so embarrassing.
Well, the whoops were gnarly.
embarrassing.
How much did they cut them down after the 250 heats? They were like flat.
Yeah, they were
Because everybody
flat.
was
but-
stacking up. It was like dominoes in the 250 heat. So, yeah, it would have. I mean, your save was one thing if you actually had gone down and not gotten hurt, but just gone down and just bruised your ego a little bit. I probably really it would already be on my Instagram. Let's put it that way. They would have seen it.
Yeah.
I would have blown you out so fast.
Hey, so biggest takeaway from the weekend, whether it's 250 or 450, who you giving the biggest props to, and what were you surprised by?
I think I have to give the biggest props to a first-time winner, which with Marchbanks winning the 250 East. I think that was because he really hasn't shown that he could ride at that pace. I mean, be in that position, and then the composure that he had once you have Sexton, the reigning champion, behind him. Like, Sexton's going to catch him and win this thing, and he didn't. Sexton got into second, was there, and Marchbanks put the hammer down and showed that he can be a race contender. He's won one, and he looked fantastic. That, to me, that was the most impressive.
I mean, that I go back and we only see what the broadcast sees, and the dude was basically perfect all night.
Yep.
2 hole shots, led wire to wire. That was very, very impressive. And I talked to his riding coach, Ivan Tedesco, and he's like, man, it was an real incredible ride. They'd worked on some things as far as his starting technique and positioning on the bike, so that's where they made some improvements. I'm like, dude, whatever you did definitely worked. And for Garrett to really step up, and Jeff, you know how it is to hold that pressure that Sexton. I mean, dude, Sexton was 2 seconds behind a majority of the race. That is so difficult to do, especially at Daytona, and going for your first race Supercross or professional win ever is kudos to you, Garrett. That was a fantastic job. But I wanted to hear your what you thought of it.
Well, it's what it takes mentally at that point, because he's doing all the training, the bike, the testing, all of that, and then you get in that position, and then you start to believe that belief in yourself, and in that position, typically that rider doesn't win that race, right? But he was in the zone, and now he knows that he can win. He knows that he can win on against anyone, against the best riders. So that should be really help with his belief system.
We're 4 races in now on this 250 East Coast, and where are you at with Shane McElrath? He won the opener, and he got second. What's that?
Convincingly.
Yes. Second in Arlington, third in Atlanta, and then fifth this weekend. What do you think is happening? What? I mean, dude, in Tampa at the season opener, that dude was rolling. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a long season for everybody. I kind of jumped the gun just a little bit, but
yeah.
What do you think happens in a situation like that? What's going on?
One of, I believe, the reasons why he was so strong in the opener is that he was completely ready and knew exactly where he needed to be, right? He's a veteran. And some of the other riders were probably getting into the groove, and now they have, so it's balanced things out a little bit. But certainly it doesn't seem like his starts have been quite where they needed to be, and you can see that on a night like this, Marchbanks gets a start to where he's going to ride at his full potential. All the guys are in there. So now things are kind of balanced out. So if he doesn't get the start, he's not, if he gets the whole shot, I think he wins. So right now, once again, we come down to that first 100 feet being such a critical part of the race. I mean, that's why, the riders and teams put so much effort into that, because that track position from starting first or starting, 5th or 10th or whatever is just makes such a big difference. He's probably starting to question some things now too, because it's like he was so dominant to begin with, and now it's like second, third, it's kind of slipping in the wrong direction. I don't know if there's any illness or, injury or whatever, but I know, if there's not, then it's certainly from here up,
Yeah. I saw some stuff, and Jeff, I don't know if you saw it, where some people were kind of hard on Kenny about how Kenny was okay with the outcome of the race. Was he happy? I'm guessing no, he wasn't happy, but was he okay with it? And I think people are being a little tough on him, and I certainly can't speak for Kenny, but what I have to say is that, yes, Kenny would have loved to have won. We knew that he was putting a little extra effort into it, and certainly the first 13 laps or so, he looked like he had a really good shot at it. But the reason that Kenny says, hey, I'm okay with it, is because Kenny knows what Eli is capable of. He knows that what Eli did, he knew that was probably a possibility. So, point in case, if Ken won on what you say was a full-blown Eli Tomac favorable track, then great, man. That's like basically he stole one. But if he didn't and still got second, he's okay with that because he is looking long-term. He's looking at the big picture. So, yes, Ken is okay with that ride. I think he should be because, Eli did Eli. You had to expect what happened, and what Eli was able to do he's plenty capable of that at that event. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Let me role play this for a second. Would it have been different if he hadn't have fallen down and Eli would have just passed him with a lap and a half to go or something? And he definitely was faster than him, but if he just made the pass and was gone, then would Ken be saying the same thing? Because right there, it's almost like there's, I don't want to say built-in excuse. That's not fair. But, I made a mistake. It was on me. If I hadn't have fallen, probably would have taken this thing to the finish, whatever.
It would have been interesting because I don't think it was going to be easy for Eli to get past Kenny. And it was right there, right down. It was going to come down to the wire, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good race. It was exciting. But now Tomac's got 4 Daytona wins to your 5. He's now tied for second all-time with Daytona wins. Yeah,
it's absolutely awesome what he's been able to do. I personally love watching him race there. More than likely, I don't know how much longer the dude's going to race, but for sure he's got the best chance of anybody to win next year there and perhaps tie my 5 wins. Which, dude, I'm totally fine with it. A guy that rides that track so well and goes out and earns the wins. Come on, man. Come join me, and I would welcome it with open arms, man. I don't hold a grudge towards anyone that is able to accomplish what I have accomplished or have accomplished more than what I've accomplished. I'm actually happy for them, and kudos to any of those guys and riders that have done so.
And that's number 32, correct?
Yeah,
450 wins.
Yeah. Do you think of that?
It would just be crazy once again to think if by the time we get to the end of this Monster Energy Supercross
Don't jinx him,
Championship,
dude. Don't.
No,
jinx
I'm just saying if he ends up 32 or more wins and still didn't have a title, man, I'm going to be blown away because it's that's a lot of wins to not wrap up a title. But I think he's looking pretty strong.
Hey, total bummer. I didn't notice this. We didn't see it, dude. Justin Brayton's out. Broken hand. Who did he get?
Did you see the Instagram?
Oh,
the video.
That
so at the end of
violent.
the whoops, it was Freezy. Yeah. He got Freezied. Freezy came
Freezy
into that turn.
He got out of control, but he was going for it. He was going for it, right?
Yeah, but that was a pure mistake. Like that wasn't. I'm going to try to go to the inside to pass Brayton. He wasn't that close. It looked like. I think most people have probably seen the Instagram. It looked like he just gets loose in the whoops and comes over that single and like he's just going to T-bone him. Tries to stop, but still gets into Brayton. That's just bad luck, man.
That was violent, though. Dude, total bummer for Justin Brayton. Hope you feel better soon, buddy, and hope you're back at it in short time.
Yeah. Anything else about the event other than the weather being crappy and
Well,
cold?
I don't want to talk about it too much, but a lot of speculation. You saw the governor, was it the governor of Washington? He shut down operations or like no events in Washington State with 250 or more people through March, which that would obviously impose on Seattle Supercross. People have been commenting and asking me, hey, what do I know anything? Do I have any insight on that race? I have no insight. So yes, even though, I'm on the TV broadcast, I don't have any information on that event. I will tell you, though, switching to my racer hat, I would think that all of these guys, especially the front runners that have a chance at this championship, they certainly better be thinking that, hey, we might, instead of 7 more rounds, we might only have 6 more rounds or whatever it may be.
Or less, right? If this
I don't know.
If this whole virus thing gets going crazy, and everyone's on even higher alert, we really don't know where it's going to be.
Right. So my point is, and this is where I would love to hear your analysis on it, is do you go for the mindset like, we might not have 7 more races left? So does it put added pressure on you to go out and execute every week?
Yeah, it's interesting because if things escalate and they start shutting down events, you never know what's going to happen. So, right, I follow the English Premier League, football, soccer. And yesterday morning they had a big conversation about what's happening because all the games are being played in Italy now are being played with no fans, right? Because there are no one, 40, 50, 60,000 people in one spot at once. And so there's a chance that in England that could happen. And so that's kind of the general consensus. I found a podcast. I basically just went on podcast and searched, coronavirus facts, found this thing. I think I sent you a link earlier, the link for it. And so there's about 8 or 10 podcasts that kind of links it all together. And this is with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, I think is his name. He's like a CNN guy, right? And so I was like, okay, let me learn about what's happening here, where this came from, what is it, all these sort of things. And when it becomes this pandemic type thing, the research that have been done over the bird flu, swine flu, SARS, all that sort of stuff, H1N1 and all that over the last couple decades, is in the studies that they've done, is the cities that were first to react to kind of keep people out of public gathering places and sporting events and schools and keep everybody separated, that the likelihood of it spreading was dramatically different. So I think that everybody's trying to get ahead of this thing. And I mean, when it comes to something like that, that's a worldwide issue, man, we may end up missing a Supercross race or maybe more. We just don't know how it's going to go. So
yes, yeah. Hopefully we don't. But that's out of my
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
I've just been trying to learn about it, because we're always like, swapping these Instagram pics and memes and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, it's kind of funny to be on the side of it going, oh, this is all fake news, until you lose a loved one and all of a sudden this stuff becomes real. And so this morning when I was driving down here to Orange County, I was like, okay, let me find a podcast. So I'm trying to educate myself a little bit. And that's what I would encourage our listeners to, is just try to learn some real facts about it, and make up your decision about, what you want to do. I mean, I certainly hope we don't have to cancel any races because, like you said, so going back to the English Premier League, so my team, Liverpool, is way out ahead, 25 points ahead, which is like unheard of. Mm-hmm. They've been checking like what the laws of the game are, and that they have to complete a certain amount of games for it to be a season. And so they're kind of, I think there's probably a bunch of lawyers and smart people and CEOs and everybody together, like, what are we going to do if we have to shut the season down? Well, one of the things was, okay, we cancel the season and act like it never happened. And I'm like, whoa. Liverpool hasn't won this damn thing since 1989. And now we've got a 25-point lead, the biggest lead any top-tier football team has had in any of the top-tier leagues in Europe. No team has ever dominated like this. And now all of a sudden, because of this coronavirus, they're going to say it didn't happen. Dude, as a Liverpool fan, I'm going to be ticked.
Oh, you'd be so devied.
So devastated.
Oh,
so
man.
devastated. Anyway,
Well,
all right, everybody
you know
be
what?
safe.
Hey, I'm going to lead you to your favorite segment next.
Hold on.
Everybody.
I got one more thing on Daytona. So, obviously, we're backed by Fox Racing. We have a secondary brand here, Shift MX, which most fans know. We had 2 limited edition kits that we released last weekend. I'm going to have Avery, our editor, going to throw up this Fox Racing. Is it Trilin or Trillin? Actually, it's what Ken Roxon wore last week. And
Which was awesome, by the way.
It was so sick, like the white and the black. And Roxon obviously had to wear his Red Bull helmet, but there's a helmet that goes with it. Tim Geiser wore it over in Italy. That kit was pretty sick. So you guys are taking a look at it here. There's Roxon and Geiser in the kit, the full kit. So I really wanted to get that in. And then also the Geico team, who wears Shift MX, re-released an LE collection that's called Republic, and we actually have 2 pants and 2 jerseys, 2 price points, a couple other pieces. But I thought that stuff looked amazing too.
Dude,
so
yeah. Like when Kenny showed up that first heat race, and they were panning on, our TV guys were on. I don't know, maybe it might have been Shu on the camera getting in front of him. Like, dude, that kit is so awesome.
Yeah. Did you get it, or are they just sending you 180 gear still these days? Black 180.
Dude, I'm in the Legion line.
You're in the off-road line these days?
Oh, dude, they've put me to the off-road. They've put me to the off-road.
This is BS. We got to get Tanner, who's right behind my shoulder. I'm going to go after the show. I'm going to tell him to get you. Dude, you're so in shape now to get the, like, dude, you need.
I could wear
Flex Air. You're on it.
Yes. I'm on it on the Flex Air.
Size
so,
30?
Tanner, I appreciate that. 32s, send them my way, brother.
So medium or a large top? What do you wear?
I go large.
Large 30,
top.
large 32.
Yeah.
We'll get Tanner.
I got to be able to move, like I don't like it too tight on my arms.
Oh, dude, I like with our Shift Blue Label, which is our top of the line. Oh, dude.
Dude, I know, right?
So nice. All right, anyway, that's enough gear talk. Ricky's favorite part of the whole show.
No, I'm being open-minded now. I'm turning the page, and I'm gonna go to school right now. It'd be good.
It's because the fans spoke, and they love the research department.
That's right.
All right, I'm gonna have to go to the Caddis Navins here because I can't see anything anymore. All right, here we go. Eli Tomac's win at Daytona on Saturday night was noteworthy for quite a few reasons. First, it was his 5th of 2020 wins, most by any rider, and it allowed Tomac to be the points leader all by himself for this coming weekend in Indy. It was his 32nd career win in his 107th start. He's now just 2 wins behind Ryan Dungey for 6th all-time, and his winning percentage is now just a tick under 30% for his career, 29.91% to be exact. That's the 6th best of all time. That's pretty amazing. Tomac also continues to move up the ladder in other categories. His win was his 58th career podium finish, 10th best of all time, and his 76th top 5, which is the 11th most in history, and it was his 100th career top 10. So he's been in the top 10 100 times. Ricky and I only raced 115.
Yeah.
We only had 115 career starts, ironically, the two of us. He's had 100 top 10s. That ties him with 3-time champ Jeff Stanton for 14th best all time. All right, one more. Tomac's margin of victory was just 0.707 seconds over Ken Roxon, and since margin of victory stats have become available since the 2003 season, there have been only 14 races in the Premier class that were decided by less than a second. Daytona was the 5th closest finish in nearly 300 races run since 2003. The closest all-time finish, of course, not that long ago, Roxon was also part of that one, again on the wrong side, and that was last year at Arlington when Cooper Webb beat the Honda rider by just 28 thousandths of a second. So, if you like the stats, follow SX Research Department on Instagram. It can help you out with all of your fantasy Supercross stuff also.
Yep. His stats are climbing. It's fun. I do like watching. I am appreciating this segment in the show, man.
Yeah.
I like
I know we're trying to shorten this up a little bit, but what's your best Daytona memory?
Oh, best Daytona, without a doubt, it's 2000 when I was able to beat this king of Supercross. So we were about, let's see here, 13 laps in, and I was at the boiling point. Like, he was all over me, and I was doing everything that I could to keep him behind me. And I'm like, dude, okay, we're lap 13. I am to the edge. And I was almost ready to surrender. I'm like, dude, I just can't handle it anymore. You're gonna have to go by me.
The race was 20 laps, but back then the lap time was long, so the race was like upwards of 30 minutes.
They were 30 minute. It was 30-minute motos, yeah, pretty much. And dude, I literally was ready to quit, and I just I don't know. It was kind of when they had those switchback tight corners.
Yeah.
And I remember kind of just glancing back, and he wasn't right there. I'm like, oh, finally. And then we got over kind of towards the mechanics area, and it went down the start straight, and you turn left. And as I was coming out of that corner, I remember kind of peeking out of my peripheral, and I looked, and I caught a glance of him coming into the turn where the other, 13 laps, he was all over me. So, I was able to get him to crack, and I broke him. And at that point, that's the one that sticks out to me as my first Daytona premier win.
Yeah, it was track was different then. It was there were the sand, the grass, that like orange limestone clay, whatever they used. And that was a tough race, especially around that time. Let's see, I didn't race 2000. That was my first season out. 99, I didn't have very good time there. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. I don't think we all did. I think I may have gotten fourth in 99, actually.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So.
But that was a special race. I loved when we raced in the daytime there. I loved everything about it. But you know what? Supercross is in a better spot now. Times change, and the TV package we have now, especially on NBCSN, it's great to have all these races live. Back then they weren't live. I think they were like a week tape delay, maybe.
Yeah, there was like maybe a Tuesday air or something like that. I mean, it seems like they were. Yeah, it's hard to say because it was kind of sporadic, and over the last 20 years, that's definitely changed quite a bit. Hey, have you been playing any fantasy Supercross?
No.
So, since we are 10 races into the Monster Energy Supercross Championship, a new player in the RMfantasySX contest is probably out of the contest for winning the grand prizes, which are those two fully kitted KTMs, I believe, and maybe a 250 and 450, something like that.
That's right.
I need to remind all of our listeners that there's still 100 weekly prizes if you play RMfantasySX, so you can still win some great stuff. Plus, of course, we have our Real Talk 447 group that's inside of that. So it's super easy to join. If you haven't, go to RMfantasySX.com, create an account, scroll down to where it says Browse Groups, search Real Talk 447, and join our group. I play every week. A couple weeks ago, I missed it. Last week, I got my picks in, and they were horrible. So you can play against me. I believe my name on there would be Emig47. And then you can win some prizes within the group. And then, of course, if you're playing for the whole championship season, even though if you just started or you just start, you can still win some of those 100 weekly prizes. So check it out. It's pretty fun, actually. It gets me engaged in it. Like, I really start thinking about it, and then I start to think, okay, I'm a former analyst, former champion. Like, I know my stuff here, right?
Yeah.
Not this week. not this week. I did not get any of the top 5 correct, and I forget what was the wild card last week. Maybe.
Sorry,
10,
I'm looking.
10, 10
no,
or something?
you know who did? You know who did get the wild card?
Who?
Who got it?
Oh,
First text I got as soon as the race was over, he reminded me. He said, "Hey, who was? Tell me who got whatever."
It was 10th.
It was 10th. Was it 9th or 10th?
It was 10th, and I picked. God, who did I pick? I forget. That was a week ago. Huh?
Hang on.
Oh, so the rider called you
It
out?
was 9th.
And?
No, the wild card. Savachi got it.
Oh, you mean
No.
he picked it right?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously Savachi. Oh, I picked Benny Bloss.
Yeah. Benny did well.
Yeah. Where was he last week? Where is he at? Bloss, like floss. He was 12th.
Yeah. That's not bad. I mean, you think about it, he made the switch back to Rocky Mountain ATV MC, Western Power Sports KTM. Probably a pretty quick, smooth transition. Benny has a lot of history with that race team, so good job, Benny.
So
filling in for Justin.
Yeah, I seen him Friday in the garage area with his team manager Michael Byrne, and Benny's got this little mustache going.
Yeah.
And I think he's been growing it for like a few months, and it's like barely there. And so Michael and I were giving him grief about laughing about it. He says his girlfriend wants him to shave it off, but you have to be my age, you got this whole thing here going. But you notice how when it's super light, when I shorten it up, there's not a lot of gray in here. So it's just dark right here, but then you can't really see it here. I just look like I have a massive mustache. Big old handlebars. It's not good. Getting old sucks. So anyway, this week with the RMfantasySX.com, obviously it's top 5 like normal, and the wild card is 15th. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try to help out our listeners and viewers, and I'm going to go with Kyle Chisholm. He's been 15, 16, 15 in the last 3 races. Yes, that's a very good indicator that 15th could be his number, but I also looked at where the competition is at, who's out, who's in. I looked at a lot of factors, and I think that's going to be his par, is 15th. So if I was you, I would go with Kyle Chisholm. I'm going to when I play in the Real Talk 447 group on RM Fantasy SX.
Bowers might be a good one. Bowers, maybe Brees. One of those 2 guys. Keep an eye on those 2 guys as your wild card. That would be my advice. Looking at the stats here, I'm looking at my phone here, so.
Yeah, but Brees has been 20, 14, 22, 18.
Yeah, but he snuck a 14th in there, and a 16th. But I'm just giving you some options here.
Chad Reed
Kyle
is
Chisholm's
actually
probably really good. Chad's going to do better than that this weekend.
His
Chad's gonna do
results,
better than
his average is probably around that though.
Yeah, he's going to do better than that. I'm just telling you, it's his birthday weekend too, so.
Oh, so it's on.
Be amped up. Yep.
Well, anything else you want to go over?
No, I'm excited about it. We will post, everybody, make sure you go to Talk447 on our Twitter account and go to our brand new Instagram page, Real Talk 447 Official. Make sure you give us a follow. Turn your notifications on, definitely. And we are going to post the winner from this last week's Daytona's winner for the Slick Products giveaway, Ricky Carmichael wash kit. So we will post you on there. Now, going into Indy, my contest for the Slick Products giveaway will be this, as follows. I want to know, give me your top 3 running order in the 250 class. Okay, so top 3 main event finishing order in the 250 class. Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium this weekend. First one to get it to us and is right will win a Slick Products Ricky Carmichael wash kit. So submit all your answers to preferably Jeff, and you could speak in. I would rather them DM our Instagram account.
Our new Instagram account.
Yes, our new Instagram account. So hit us up there, man. Submit your answers ASAP.
And by the time that this show posts, there will be an Instagram on that account because Ricky and I cut a promo for it earlier. And so I'm going to make sure I remind you, if you go on that Instagram post, comment, you have to comment something about the show, tag 2 friends, and you can enter to win a set of Emig Pro grips. So I'm gonna do a little giveaway right there. But you got to comment, say something good, say something bad, entertain us, make us cry, whatever, and then you got to tag 2 friends, and you can win a free set of Emig Pro grips. Sound good?
Yeah, man.
All right, everybody. Oh, what?
No, I said I'm always up for free stuff. So I hope we love your guys' comments and dialogue, and it's a lot of fun. It's gonna be good.
All right, that's our show.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, man. You have a good weekend, and I will look at you next week on Tuesday. We'll be back to our normal filming time next Tuesday.
Cool, man. It's been real. Thanks, Ricky. Also, thanks to all the listeners and viewers around the world on YouTube and your favorite podcast sites. Thanks to our sponsors. Couldn't do it without them. Of course, Fox Racing for hosting us here in Irvine. RockyMountainATVMC.com, Slick Products, Emig Pro Grips by ODI Grips. We also got to mention your RC4 handlebar bin that you have with ODI. That's pretty cool. There's 2 separate models of that if you haven't checked those out. And if you like the show, please like, subscribe, comment if it's on YouTube, and make sure, like Ricky said, to send your comments and everything to Real Talk 447 Official on Instagram.
That's right.
Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, the Andrew McKeague Band will entertain us as we go away with This Old Lie. See ya.